Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of ranking every single level in the map packs. As per usual, there's going to be a playlist in the description with every episode if you haven't seen the episodes before this, and if you would like a kind of breakdown of how the rules of this series are going to work, that is in episode 1. I'm pretty excited for this episode because this episode is a lot more varied in terms of the types of levels that we're talking about, just due to the packs that are in here. Honestly, that's kind of exciting because while we're not clear of them, there's going to be a lot more variety, and it's not all just going to be Stereo Madness remakes. Because of that, I'm really excited, so let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into the reviews. Edification is a really weird one. This level isn't bad for the reason most people say it's bad. It has these weird moving object effects in 2.0 that admittedly looked fucking awesome for their time. This level looks sick, but it does create some sight readability issues. The thing is, after a practice run, they're really not hard. This level's not bad at all in that regard, and I could totally see why people wouldn't like this one for being unreadable, but I don't think this is as bad as, say, like, old level blind jumps. Like, we're not fucking Square Adventure level of bad with this one. I think this level plays fine, with the exception of the ending. In particular, this UFO part, which has a really awful double click at the end of it, and this wave. They are way harder than the rest of the level and make it really frustrating when you come to this level for the first time. It's weird because visually this level looks fucking amazing, but gameplay-wise, man, is it a fucking frustrating nuisance. I've never met someone that likes playing Edification, and yeah, I think I'm going to give this level a 6 out of 10 because it looks good, but it plays like shit. Enchanted by Sputniks is just generally an intriguing level to see pop up in the map packs, and I kinda didn't even know that this level was by Sputniks. The reason it's so intriguing realistically is just because Sputniks is still around today and is arguably one of the best creators in the game right now, creating stuff like How and What, along with stuff like Brainfugged. But yeah, apparently he made some old levels too. I didn't realize Sputniks was an older creator, I'll be totally honest. And this definitely feels like a Sputniks level. For 2.0, this is incredibly ahead of its time. Does it have some parts that look a little dated? Sure, and while the gameplay also starts off strong, it quickly becomes unsatisfying, especially considering the level just kind of ends. No proper breathe, no satisfaction, it just ends, which is a bit lame, but aside of that, I mean, this level is genuinely really good, it looks really good, and for the map packs, obviously that means it's a 10 out of 10. Sunwalker by Jerkrat is legitimately just one of the most disappointing levels I've ever played, because I went into it with a lot of expectations. It looks really fucking good, it's got a really good song, and for the most part, the gameplay's really good. Unfortunately, there's this UFO at the end that really soured me on this entire level. I just don't like this UFO. First of all, you have this part where you go through a teleport portal and you flip gravity, but the gravity portal that makes you flip is like stacked on top of the orange teleport portal, so you just can't see it, which is a total beginner's trap. If you're trying to sight read this level, you're going straight into the ground thinking that you need to hold upwards, because there's literally a platform above. It looks like you need to keep yourself upwards, but that alone isn't the only issue. After you flip upside down, this part just doesn't feel that good to do. It just isn't a very fun section. Ironically, yes, it would have played better if you were normal gravity, so I just don't like this UFO, and normally one bad section wouldn't sour me that much on a level, and the rest of this level's gameplay is fucking amazing, but this UFO is right at the end of the level, and that makes it really frustrating to play. And because of that, I'm going to bump it down to a 9 out of 10. I was originally going to give it a 10 out of 10, but this UFO sucks enough to where, yeah, I'm giving this level a 9 out of 10. Geometry level by 5duck is actually horrible. I am blown away by how bad this level is. First of all, right off the bat, I was very confused by the fact that this RobTop level mix level modifies the RobTop levels only to break their theme and not to make the levels interesting. Well, the gameplay of all the parts is just ripped straight from the RobTop levels. They fucked up the decoration by just throwing random electrodynamics objects in. I was legitimately confused when I first booted this level up and didn't know that it was a RobTop level mix, so all I saw was like, Electrodynamics is the song, why is it a Back on Track remake, why is the level fucking counting, what is going on?
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
Kiss my ass! Ah!
Once you get past all that and you realize it's a RobTop level mix, all those problems stop being problems. They just become really fucking weird and confusing, but easy to overlook. This level's real problems come from the balancing and the gameplay. First of all, let's get this out of the way. The blind jump, the worst blind jump I've ever seen in a level. Like, I get it, it's a bunch of RobTop level mixes, so transitions between the levels aren't going to be the most elegant. I can overlook it because it plays fine, and I can understand, especially back then, transitioning across RobTop levels not being the easiest thing in the world to do. But this blind jump is actually inexcusable. It's so fucking awful. This blind jump works in Can't Let Go because you fall 2 or 3 blocks before you have to jump. If you fall early, you're still going to make it because you're going to jump across the whole platform, land, and then have the chance to jump again. If you don't jump at all, you're going to see what's coming up and you're going to be fine. It's really not a blind jump, it's more like a blind fall that can't kill you. In this level, though, you're completely fucked if you don't jump. You have to know to hold, but sometimes if you land too low, you can land on the stair piece before the bottom one, jump, and not make it. So it's just in general this really awful blind jump that requires a horrible amount of adjustment. There's also just the way the level ends, which is shit. It already kind of throws a warning shot at you that it's going to be second half heavy by just throwing the TOE1 UFO at you. This section isn't that hard in TOE1, but the way it's presented in this level, it's a massive choke point. You have to just know to double-click at least once to adjust. Also, it ends with the hardest part of electrodynamics. Why? Now, this part isn't hard for me because I have a lot of experience with this game, but imagine being someone that still struggles with the RobTop levels. 4-star my ass! This level is just a shitstorm of problems that all fucking blends together to make this level absolutely unfun. I genuinely think this might be one of the worst of the map packs so far. 1 out of 10. Next up we have 1 by Cody. Yes, it's just called 1. It's just 1. This level is insanely creative, considering it came out in Update 1.1. Seeing gameplay and structuring this unique is actually kind of cool to see. This is genuinely a fun level, in my opinion, but it's also relatively frustrating, and there's some things in this that, if you're not as good at the game, it can turn you off of this level. First of all, there's a lot of setup clicks, which are generally just frustrating to deal with. And you know what? I'm going to give you a sort of live example because I don't really know how to explain this. Just as a good example of what I'm talking about, there's this part here, which looks like this. And basically, it has a lot of forced buffers because if I, like, wait a second and then jump, I'll, like, clip into the block on this last jump here, which is incredibly frustrating. But assuming you do remember to buffer and you make it, the same thing can happen on these. You have to, like, buffer going down these, otherwise that can happen. Considering that, combined with the fact that this level loves to abuse triple spikes, and then you also have this part with the weird Tetris blocks at the end, which requires a lot of setup, this level can be very frustrating, and at times feels like it's outright antagonistic to the player, but despite that, I think this level's actually pretty unique and kind of fun, so I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. And then we have Partition Madness by Partition. Did you know that Partition Madness was by Partition? I had no idea that Partition made Partition Madness, but apparently Partition Madness was made by Partition. Who would have thought? This is just another fucking generic-ass Stereo Madness remake, and at this point on the map packs, I think it's pretty clear that if a level's a Stereo Madness remake, it has to do a lot to stand out, and unfortunately this level really doesn't. It's just another run-of-the-mill fucking stupid-ass Stereo Madness slop level. It's just, I'm so sick of these. I will say, points for originality for just having the most random mini portal part that lasts for like 10 seconds at best. It's just so boring. There really isn't a lot to say. I will say, it is kind of funny that this level got updated to have bronze coins, considering how dog shit the bronze coins in this level are. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. It's a full-fledged just 6 out of 10. It's completely mediocre. Oh boy, where do I even begin with Stage of Madness? This level, on its face, wouldn't be that bad. I don't know if this got updated or something, and yes, it's pretty sad that I can't tell at this point because so many map pack levels have been updated, but I don't know if this level's been updated. But this level is loaded with mirror portal spam and random bullshit, and it's just, oh my god, this is fucking horrible. I'm actually fucking exhausted trying to review this one, but yeah, alright, first of all, let's get the elephant out of the room. The mirror portals in this level are so badly used. All they are an obstacle. They're not used for any, like, making the level cool or anything like that. I gotta give a special shout out to this part, where you only click one orb, there's two orbs, one of them is fake. Pretty traditional setup, except there's mirror portal spam while you're fucking doing it. That's really annoying, especially if you're sight reading the level. And then there's the part at the end, the thanks for playing screen, which is backwards because of a mirror portal. Beyond that, there's the ending. This awful fake blue orb where it looks like you have to hit it because it also looks like you have to jump over this spike. But no, treat this like a solid platform. Why would you put a spike in the solid platform? Why would you design this ending like this at all? This is literally just here to fuck with people who are sight reading your level. But let's say you removed all those flaws and you improved this level, what would you be left with? Yet another generic-ass Stereo Madness level. Great. Yeah, this level's getting a 3 out of 10. This is fucking terrible. Stage mix by I Don't Exist. Yes, that's actually what the green user's name is, apparently. This level is okay. It is a much better attempt at a Rob Top level mix, but the fact that this is a good attempt at a Rob Top level mix and still isn't that great kind of shows why the concept of a Rob Top level mix is a inherently flawed idea. You can do it well, but it's really hard, and I definitely don't think people back in pre-1.8 were going to be doing it well. This level is fine. It's just got horrible balancing issues, and that can make it very frustrating. Really not much more to say beyond that. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Polargeist Reverse is a weird one, because when you hear Polargeist Reverse, you're probably picturing something in your head like Club Steppery, where it's just the level facing the other way with a mirror portal to make you feel like you're going backwards with a bunch of stuff there to make it possible. But no, this is just a full-on remake that is meant to give you the feeling of the level progressing the other way, and it's a lot of effort for such a stupid gimmick. This level puts in a ton of effort, and I think it's really insane. You'd expect a level like this to be jank and buggy. Well, it's a little jank. There's shockingly not that many bugs. I think maybe I found 3 across the level that are easily avoided, so really not that big of a deal, albeit one of them did kill me at the end, which was a bit frustrating. This level only really has one flaw, and it's the ship part. In the ship part, I tried to land on the ceiling because you can do that in OG Polargeist, but for whatever reason, this level puts ground spikes there to prevent you from doing that. If this was visually indicated, I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with that, but the problem is the ground spikes are black and the background is black, so yeah, you can't see them. It just looks like you can land. It looks identical to OG Polargeist, but the level just kind of does a fuck you if you try to land on the ceiling or ground. It's really stupid, but yeah, you die there once and then you just know. Old gimmick levels like this have a tendency to be really shit. I mean, we talked about the Zalink UFO pack, but this one is okay, and considering how much worse it could have been, I'm just going to count my blessings and give this level a 7 out of 10. And that was Ranking the Map Packs Episode 5. This is a very interesting episode for me because there's a huge change in how I'm working on the series behind the scenes. I'm actually beating the levels as I review them now and not just botting them and looking at them and going off of memory. For those of you who have been following the channels, you'll probably know that I just reset my stats recently, and so now I actually have to beat the levels alongside the series, which is definitely a double-edged sword, to say the least, but it's mostly a good thing. The quality of the levels this episode was definitely weird because it started off super strong and then kind of nosedived, but there weren't a lot of levels that were worse than mediocre. Most of it was at the least okay, which is definitely better than how some of the episodes in the series have gone. I am glad that this was not worse, I guess. Yeah, a lot of the levels in this episode are mid as fuck, and I'm expecting a lot of the map pack series to go this way, but yeah. That being said, I don't have that much more to say. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.